30 minutes a day. That's all it takes to begin transforming the way your mind speaks to you, the way your life unfolds around you, and the way you feel when you wake up each morning. Come closer, my dear. Take a slow breath with me. Not a rushed breath, not a shallow one, but a deep, gentle inhale and a soft, releasing exhale. Let your shoulders drop just a little. Let your mind soften, even if only for this moment. I want you to know something before we go any further. If you have been feeling stuck, distracted, overwhelmed, or even disappointed in yourself for not being disciplined enough, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. Let me ask you something, sweetheart. When you think about discipline, what do you feel in your body? Do you feel tension, pressure, a voice that says, I should be doing more, I'm not doing enough, I'm falling behind? Yes, I can feel that with you. For so long, discipline has been taught as something harsh, something rigid, something that demands force, control, and punishment. But what if I gently told you that true discipline, the kind that changes everything, is not about forcing yourself. It's about returning to yourself. It's about choosing yourself again and again in small, quiet, almost invisible ways. And that's where these 30 minutes begin to matter. Not because 30 minutes is magical on its own, but because of what it represents. It represents a moment where you stop abandoning yourself. It represents a moment where you say, I matter enough to show up, even just a little. And my dear, that changes everything. You see, we often think transformation comes from big decisions, dramatic changes, sudden bursts of motivation. But life doesn't really shift that way. Life shifts the way a seed grows beneath the soil. Slowly, quietly, invisibly at first. Have you ever planted something and kept checking the soil, wondering why nothing is happening? And yet, beneath the surface, everything is happening. Roots are forming, strength is building, the foundation is being prepared. Your mind works the same way. Every day you show up for just 30 minutes, even when you don't feel like it, even when it feels small, even when no one notices, you are planting roots. And those roots, they will hold a future version of you that feels calm, clear, and deeply in control. Not in a forceful way, but in a grounded, peaceful way. Now let me gently shift something inside you. What if discipline isn't about controlling your life, but about creating a relationship with your mind? Feel that. Because your mind is not your enemy. It's not something you need to fight or conquer. It's something you need to understand, to guide, to gently train, like you would guide a child who is still learning how to walk. Would you scream at a child for falling? Or would you softly encourage them, help them stand again, and remind them that it's okay? That's the energy your mind needs from you. Not harshness, but consistency. Not pressure, but presence. And those 30 minutes, they become your daily promise. A sacred space where you sit with yourself, where you redirect your thoughts, where you choose again. Because let's be honest, my dear, your mind has been trained for years, maybe even decades, to think in certain patterns, to worry, to doubt, to procrastinate, to seek comfort over growth. And then one day you expect it to suddenly change? No, sweetheart, it doesn't work that way. Your mind learns through repetition, through gentle, consistent redirection, through showing it again and again. This is who we are becoming now. And this is why 30 minutes is enough. Because it's not about intensity. It's about identity. Let me ask you something deeper. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you in those quiet moments, when it's just you and your thoughts? That is where your life is really being shaped. Not in the big moments, not in the visible achievements, but in the small, repeated choices you make in silence. So instead of asking, when will my life change? I want you to gently begin asking, who am I becoming in these 30 minutes? Are you becoming someone who keeps promises to themselves? Are you becoming someone who can sit with discomfort without running away? Are you becoming someone who chooses growth even when it feels unfamiliar? Because that person, that version of you, doesn't need motivation. They don't need to be pushed. They simply are. And my dear, you are building that version one day at a time. Now, let's slow this down even more, because I don't want this to feel overwhelming. I want it to feel possible. So when you think about your 30 minutes, don't fill it with pressure. Don't turn it into something heavy. Instead, make it a space of gentle intention. Maybe you sit quietly and breathe. Maybe you write your thoughts down without judgment. Maybe you focus your mind on something meaningful, something that aligns with who you are becoming. Maybe you simply sit and observe your thoughts, noticing where your mind goes without trying to force it to stop. Because awareness is the beginning of discipline, not control, awareness. The moment you become aware of your patterns, you begin to loosen their grip, and that is where your power returns. Now, I want you to place your hand gently on your chest, if that feels okay, and just feel your heartbeat for a moment. This, right here, is your anchor. No matter how chaotic your thoughts become, you can always return here. And in your 30 minutes, this is where you begin, with presence, with softness, with a willingness to meet yourself exactly as you are. Because discipline without compassion creates resistance. But discipline with compassion creates transformation. Can you feel the difference? Stay with that feeling. Because this is not about becoming perfect. This is not about never missing a day. This is not about pushing yourself to exhaustion. This is about learning to come back. Again and again and again. Even if you skip a day. Even if you forget. Even if you feel like you're starting over. You're not starting over. You're continuing with more awareness, and that awareness is everything. Now, gently, I want to offer you a few soft words, not as rules, but as invitations. You can repeat them in your mind, slowly, like a quiet whisper to your own soul. I am learning to show up for myself. I am allowed to grow at my own pace. My consistency matters, even in small moments. I do not need to be perfect. I only need to be present. My mind is learning, and I am patient with it. Take a breath and let those settle inside you. Because the truth is, discipline is not something you force. It's something you practice with love. And over time, it becomes who you are. But my dear, I also want to gently touch on something that often hides beneath the surface. Sometimes, it's not that you lack discipline. Sometimes it's that a part of you is afraid of change, afraid of becoming someone new, afraid of what happens if you actually succeed. Because if you change, your life changes. Your relationships may shift. Your habits may fall away. Your comfort zone dissolves. And even if your current state feels uncomfortable, it's familiar. And the mind loves what is familiar. So when you sit down for your 30 minutes and you feel resistance, don't fight it. Instead, get curious. Ask yourself softly, what am I afraid of right now? And just listen. No judgment, no pressure, just listening. Because when you understand your resistance, it begins to lose its power. And suddenly, discipline no longer feels like a battle. It feels like a quiet act of courage. A gentle decision to step forward, even while holding your own hand. And that, my dear, is something very few people truly learn. But you are learning it now, slowly, gently, deeply. So as you move through your day, I want you to carry this with you. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to fix your whole life overnight. You only need to show up for 30 minutes, fully, honestly, gently, and trust that something within you is shifting, even if you cannot see it yet, because it is. It truly is. And as you begin to settle into this understanding, something very subtle starts to change within you. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like the first light of morning slipping through a window before the world fully wakes. Take a breath with me again, my dear, slow, gentle, unhurried, because this is where your discipline deepens, not as something you do, but as something you begin to feel. You see, those 30 minutes, they are not just time. They are a doorway between the version of you that reacts and the version of you that chooses. And most people, they live their entire lives on one side of that doorway. They wake up and immediately react to their thoughts, to their phone, to their responsibilities, to their fears. And without even realizing it, their day is already decided for them. But you are doing something different now. You are stepping into that doorway every single day, even if just for a little while. And in that space, something powerful happens. You begin to notice. You begin to see the thoughts that used to control you as just thoughts. You begin to feel emotions without being pulled under by them. You begin to realize, I am not my habits. I am not my patterns. I am the one who can observe them. Stay with that for a moment, because this is where true discipline is born. Not from force, but from awareness. Let me ask you something softly. Have you ever noticed how quickly your mind wants to escape discomfort? The moment something feels difficult, it reaches for distraction. The moment something feels uncertain, it reaches for avoidance. The moment something feels unfamiliar, it retreats back to what is known. And then we say, I lack discipline. But no, my dear, what you've been experiencing is simply a mind that has been conditioned to protect you, to keep you safe, even if that safety keeps you stuck. So when you sit down for your 30 minutes and your mind starts wandering, or resisting or whispering, "This is too much. This is pointless. Let's do something else." I don't want you to fight it. I want you to smile gently and recognize it. Ah, there you are. And then softly you return again and again and again. This is the training, not forcing your mind to be still, but teaching it that you are now the one leading. Do you see how different that feels? It's not control, it's guidance, like holding a steady hand instead of pulling on a rope. And over time, something beautiful begins to happen. Your mind starts to trust you. It stops resisting as much. It stops pulling away as strongly because it learns that you are consistent, that you are safe, that you are not going to abandon it or yourself. And this is where discipline becomes effortless. Not because it's easy, but because it's aligned. Now, let's go a little deeper, sweetheart, into something that truly changes everything. Your emotional state, because what you feel during those 30 minutes matters far more than what you do. Yes, this is important. You could sit there, forcing yourself, counting the minutes, waiting for it to end, and your body would feel tension. Your mind would feel resistance. And your subconscious, it would associate discipline with discomfort. But what if instead you allowed those 30 minutes to feel like a return home? What if you softened your body, relaxed your breath, and approached that time not as a task, but as a reunion with yourself? Can you feel how that shifts everything? Because your body listens to your emotional state. Your mind responds to your inner tone. And when you create a feeling of calm, of presence, of gentle commitment, you begin to reprogram not just your habits, but your entire identity. Now, let me offer you something simple to carry into your next 30 minutes. When you sit down, before you do anything, pause. Close your eyes if that feels safe, and take 3 slow breaths. With each inhale, imagine you are gathering yourself. With each exhale, imagine you are releasing pressure. And then softly ask yourself, how do I want to feel during these 30 minutes? Not what do I want to achieve? Not what do I need to finish? But how do I want to feel? Peaceful? Focused? Present? Gentle? Choose one and let that feeling guide you. Because when you lead with feeling, your actions begin to align naturally, and discipline becomes something you step into instead of something you chase. Now, my dear, I want to gently bring your attention to something that often goes unnoticed. The way you speak to yourself during the moments you fail. Yes, this is where many people quietly lose themselves. Because it's not the missed day or the broken routine that stops them. It's the voice that follows. You see, I knew you couldn't do it. You always start and never finish. What's the point? That voice, it feels so convincing, doesn't it? So familiar. But let me tell you something very gently. That voice is not the truth. It's a pattern, a learned response, an echo from past experiences, from moments where you felt not enough, not capable, not consistent. And every time you believe it, you reinforce it. But what if, in those moments, instead of criticizing yourself, you chose something different? What if you simply said, "It's okay, I'm still learning"? Can you feel how soft that is? How kind, how freeing? Because discipline is not about never falling. It's about how you return after you do. And the way you return determines everything. So, the next time you miss your 30 minutes, or you sit down and feel distracted, or you don't do it perfectly, I want you to remember this. You are not behind. You are in the process, and the process is where your transformation lives. Now, let's take another breath together, slowly, gently, and I want you to feel into this truth. You are becoming someone new, not suddenly, not overnight, but steadily, with each moment of awareness, with each gentle return, with each choice to show up, even just a little. You are reshaping your mind, and as your mind changes, your life begins to follow, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Now, let me place a few soft affirmations into your awareness again, like seeds. You don't have to repeat them out loud. Just let them settle. I am safe to grow. I am building trust with myself. I return to myself with patience. My effort is enough. I am becoming steady in my own way. Take a breath and let those words land. Because this is the discipline that changes everything. Not loud, not rigid, but quiet, consistent, and deeply rooted in self-respect. And as you continue, day by day, you may begin to notice something unexpected. A calm confidence, a sense of inner stability, a quiet knowing that you can rely on yourself. And my dear, that feeling, that trust, is more powerful than any external achievement. Because once you have that, there is nothing you cannot build, nothing you cannot face, nothing you cannot grow through. So stay here in this space of becoming. Stay gentle, stay present, stay committed, not to perfection, but to yourself. And now, my dear, just stay here with me for a moment longer. Take a slow breath in and let it out gently, as if you're releasing everything you've been carrying without even realizing it. Because something within you is softer now, isn't it? Not weak, no. Softer in the way that water is soft, yet powerful enough to shape stone over time. That is the kind of discipline you are awakening. Not force, not pressure, but quiet, steady power. You see, what you are building with these 30 minutes each day is not just a habit. You are building a relationship with yourself. And relationships, they don't grow through intensity. They grow through presence, through showing up again and again, even in small ways, especially in small ways. Let me ask you something gently. What if these 30 minutes were never about becoming more productive, but about becoming more connected? Connected to your thoughts, connected to your emotions, connected to the deeper part of you that has always been there, waiting patiently for your attention. Feel into that, because so many people spend their lives trying to control their outer world, chasing results, trying to fix everything outside of them, but they rarely sit quietly and listen to what is happening within. And yet, everything begins there. Everything. The life you experience, the choices you make, the way you respond to challenges, it all flows from your inner state. So when you give yourself these 30 minutes, you are not falling behind in life. You are stepping into the very place where life is created. Now, let's go a little deeper into something that may feel uncomfortable, but also freeing. Sometimes, what looks like a lack of discipline is actually a lack of safety. Yes, I want you to hear that clearly. If your nervous system feels overwhelmed, if your mind feels constantly on edge, of course it will resist structure. Of course it will avoid stillness, because stillness feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar can feel unsafe. So, if sitting with yourself for 30 minutes feels difficult, if your thoughts become louder, if your body feels restless, I don't want you to interpret that as failure. I want you to recognize it as awareness. Your system is revealing itself to you. It's saying, this is where we are right now. And that is where you begin. Not from where you think you should be, but from where you truly are. And from that place, you move gently. Maybe your 30 minutes are not perfectly focused. Maybe your mind wanders. Maybe you feel uncomfortable. That's okay, because you are still showing up. And every time you stay, even just a little longer than before, you are expanding your capacity. You are teaching your body, we are safe here. You are teaching your mind, we can be present. And slowly, very slowly, that resistance begins to soften. Now, sweetheart, I want to guide you into something very simple, something you can carry into your daily life without effort. Throughout your day, just pause for a few seconds. That's all. Pause and notice your breath. Notice your thought. Notice how you feel without trying to change anything. These small pauses, they are like gentle reminders. They bring you back again and again. Because discipline is not only built in those 30 minutes, it's reinforced in the spaces between, in the way you speak to yourself, in the way you respond to stress, in the way you choose presence, even for a moment. And over time, these moments begin to connect. They form a rhythm, a quiet, steady rhythm of awareness. And before you even realize it, you are no longer the person who constantly reacts. You become the person who chooses. Now, let me ask you something deeper. Can you trust the process even when you don't see results yet? That's where the real shift happens. Because the mind loves evidence. It wants to see change quickly, visibly. But transformation, true transformation, often happens invisibly at first, just like those roots beneath the soil, strengthening, expanding, preparing for something that hasn't yet emerged. So when you feel like nothing is happening, when you feel like your 30 minutes are not enough, I want you to remember something is happening. Something is always happening. You are rewiring patterns. You are softening resistance. You are building trust. And trust my dear, is the foundation of everything. Now, place your attention gently on your heart again, and let these words move through you, slowly, softly. I trust myself more each day. I am safe to be consistent. I honor my effort even when it feels small. I am becoming steady, calm, and clear. I stay with myself no matter what. Take a breath and feel the truth in those words, even if it's just a tiny spark, because that spark will grow. It always does. Now, let's speak honestly, with tenderness. There may be days when you don't want to show up, days when your mind feels heavy, days when your emotions feel overwhelming, days when everything inside you says, not today. And on those days, your discipline will not look perfect. It may not even look strong. It may look like sitting quietly for just 5 minutes. It may look like taking one deep breath and calling that enough. It may look like simply choosing not to give up on yourself. And that is still discipline. Do you see? Discipline is not measured by how much you do, but by how gently you continue. So please, don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until it feels easy. Because the truth is, this right here is the moment. This breath, this awareness, this quiet decision to begin again and again and again. And as you keep returning, something profound happens. You stop asking, can I do this? And you begin to feel, this is who I am. A person who shows up, a person who stays, a person who grows with patience, with grace, with quiet strength. And my dear, that identity, that quiet, steady self, will carry you further than any burst of motivation ever could. So as we come to this gentle closing, I want you to soften once more. Relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, let your breath slow down, and just feel you are not behind. You are not late. You are not failing. You are in the process of becoming, and that process is unfolding perfectly in its own time. All you need to do is keep showing up for those 30 minutes for yourself, with kindness, with patience, with trust, because this is the discipline that changes everything, and it begins with you.